loves. I'm Jill. I talk to you about college applications, college essays, college worries, college things. And talking to you about these things is also kind of talking to you about your life, because when you apply to college, you have to kind of figure out who you are. You have to present people this idea of who you are, and then they say like, oh, you belong here, don't belong here. So it's all kind of a weird process, but if you think about it, it's all life really is. It's like figuring out where you belong, and hopefully we all figure out that we belong in a lot of places, like so many places that make us feel loved and good. So how do you make a story about your life? How do you make a story about your life that will help you get into college, but also that will help you understand yourself and grow and learn and be your best person, you know? So on this day, today is it's like a cloudless, gray, can you see the road? It's like everything is kind of the same color. Everything, including my hat. It's all gray. My dog is the same color. Like she totally blends in. Everything is the same color. And so how do you take this life where maybe you're just a human like any other human and write your story for your applications or just for your own identity? Like, who are you, man? Who are you? And it's kind of hard to figure out. But there's this, I've been thinking about clouds a lot lately because I think they provide a really good metaphor. Like, if you see a cloud, when you're little, and you used to try to figure out how to make shapes out of clouds. And so you can see a cloud and then be like, oh my gosh, there's a frog in that cloud. And you can look up. You can't see anyone now, but you can look up and you can be like, there's certainly a frog. There's certainly a frog. No, there's not a frog, but there's also a frog. There's a shape that looks like a frog. And you know it to be a frog as certain as, day is day. And you also know it to be a cloud. So there's both a frog and not a frog. And if you look at that cloud long enough, the frog kind of changes anyway. And maybe you decide it's still a frog or something else. But that's kind of how it is to figure out your life, right? You have to kind of feel inside yourself and figure out who you are, what is the core of you, and what are the stories that compose you, and what are the different shapes that are making you who you are at a particular point in time. And you have to write about that frog or write about that shape of you that you find. And it's kind of a cool process because it's so impermanent, right? That cloud's going to change, the world's going to change, the weather's going to change, everything's going to change, and that frog is probably going to shift and transform. It'll still be there, but it won't be there. So thinking about college applications, to be clear, you really just have to find the shape you're in now and write about that and talk about it. You don't have to be perfect or one way and you don't have to be sure. I think a lot of people get hung up when they're writing their college applications because they think, I'm not sure if this is me. Is this me? Is this who people see? It doesn't matter. You just have to find one little picture that seems like it's there for now. And you do that by, at this point, juniors are probably starting to think most about college, but really anybody who's heading out into life, trying to figure out your identity, you got to start looking at you. Look at that cloud. You got to start looking at yourself and figuring out the shape to you. And when you start thinking about writing college applications, at first you might be like, oh, I got this. I have these cool stories. I can write about this. I can write about that. But then when you start doing it, most people start freaking out. Oh my God, I can't write it. Wait, this sounds stupid once I start to put it onto paper. And they start to feel really bad. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to start by just compiling lists of who you are, right? Make a list of everything you like. 20, 30 things. Make a list of everything that's happened to you. 20, 30 things. Make a list of everything that's important to you. 20, 30 things. Write those lists out. And start compiling yourself. Start looking at that cloud, right? What you're doing is you're just gathering all the little, the stuff that has made up your life into one place so you can really just look at it for a while. So that's all you have to do for now, is start looking at that cloud of experiences and feelings that is you, and just be with it for a little bit. All right, that's how you start your college application process. I'm Jill. It's good to see your bright and shiny little selves on this white, gray, gorgeous day.